any aspect of life where you have found yourself to be thinking, this is not how I thought it was going to turn out. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Then you can use what I'm going to teach to help you out of that way of thinking that is causing you so much suffering. Hi, I'm Kelly Hine. I was recently chatting to a mum with 3 young kids, and what she described to me took me back so much to the way that I felt when my older 2 kids were little. And that is when you get to that moment of realizing that this isn't how I thought it was going to be. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. 2 of her kids fight a lot. And if you're a mum and you've got kids that clash and fight, you will know that it's one of the hardest things that can really do your head in. And there are just so many aspects of being a mum that can be challenging and hard. And we have this romantic notion of how we think it's going to turn out. Well, I know that I did, and I know that so many of us do, of the way that it's going to be just so beautiful and so wonderful. Our relationship with our partner, and when we have kids, and then we have kids, and it's a lot harder than we thought. But even if you are not a mum with young kids dealing with this, please use what I'm going to teach for any aspect of life where you have found yourself to be thinking, this is not how I thought it was going to turn out. No matter what is going on for you, if you've got any variation on that theme, this isn't how it should be. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Then you can use what I'm going to teach to help you out of that way of thinking that is causing you so much suffering. So the problem with this way of thinking is that it is an outside-in approach to happiness and to having inner peace. In other words, because this situation is not the way I want it to be, I can't be happy. And this outside-in approach, it can't work because you will always be in a state of pushing away what you don't want and grasping for what you do want, even if that's just mentally. But we also tend to be in a state of trying to control things that we can't control. And in this state, this outside-in approach, we are believing that our happiness is out there. And if only things could change, then I could feel good. And we are constantly striving to manipulate and change things so that we can be happier. So if our kids are fighting and clashing, at the very least we will be mentally fighting against that and mentally wishing that would be different. But we'll also be just striving to try and change that with the belief that if that would stop, or if we could get things to be the way we want, then I can have peace and then I can be happy. And with this approach, you can see that we are giving away all of our power. We're giving away our power because we're saying that it's up to things that I don't have complete control over. And we turn into a kind of a control freak. The control freak is never really in control because they're grasping to control things that are not their business to control and not inside their power. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't do anything. It doesn't mean that if you've got, for example, kids that clash and fight, that there's nothing you can do about it. But what it means is that whatever situation is occurring in the present moment is not what is affecting your peace and happiness. It is the way that you are seeing things, it's the way that you are thinking about things. And that is the inside-out approach. The inside-out approach says that my peace and my happiness is my responsibility. It takes your power back. The inside-out approach says no matter what is going on out there, I can still be peaceful and happy. And from that present and peaceful state, I can then choose what response is needed. And that response then comes from a much more centered and present and grounded place. So you're much more likely to respond and not react with the inside out approach. So if you come back to the example of having two kids that clash and fight a lot, with the inside out approach, we can observe what's happening. We might even observe that we're being triggered by it or that it's raising strong emotion in us. But we remind ourselves, even though we might often forget, we remember that, my happiness, my peace, it's my job, it's up to me. And it's not the fact that my kids are fighting, it's what I'm thinking about their fighting that is causing my angst, that is causing my suffering. And that is the key. It's taking that full responsibility back, taking full responsibility for your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, where you are putting your attention. So the purpose of this video is not to go into the nitty-gritties of advising you what you would do in the situation of how you would respond to your kids. And there is a lot that could be said about that, but that is not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to remind you that your peace and your happiness is 100% your responsibility and is not about what's going on around you. So here is exactly what you need to do the next time that you notice yourself mentally fighting against the way things are. 1, you must stop wishing things would be different. It's the belief that things should be different to this that's causing your unhappiness. It's not that life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. The key to happiness is allowing and accepting that fact that this is the human experience, is that we need to learn to be with what is and allow it and accept it and even love it. How can I love this situation? How can I bring love to it? Life is full of imperfection. Life is full of messiness and things that you didn't plan and people that don't get along. And all of that is part of life. And as long as you don't want that to be like that, you will be in a perpetual state of unhappiness and frustration. Contentment comes from learning to love what is, choosing what you want to focus on, choosing your response to what is happening. So that's the first tip in summary, was stop wishing that it would be different and learn how to love what is. And the second tip here is to let go. You've got to let go control and let go of the story of what you thought things should have been or could have been. That is just a mental story of how you think things were meant to be, and only if they could be that way, then you could be happy. So you've got to let go control and let go of the story of what you thought things should be like. And thirdly, your job is to focus on your internal state, the inside out approach to happiness. Now, we don't get this perfect. We often forget. We're human. But every time you catch yourself wishing things would be different, giving away your power, remember, it's up to me. It's my responsibility. It's not what's happening that's causing this suffering. It's what I'm choosing to think about it. It's what I'm thinking. It's what I'm believing. It's a story that I've got going on of how things should be. I'm wishing that things would be different. I'm thinking that if I could just control those things outside of myself, then I'd be at peace, then I'd be happy. And it's not true. So the key here is that it's an inside out job. It's an inside out approach that is going to bring you true and lasting peace and happiness. And learn to love the imperfect and messy aspects of life. And when you do need to respond to things that are happening, when you do it from this calm and present state where you are taking responsibility for your internal state, you're able to respond instead of react. And this is coming from a place that is so much more who you really are, the real you, and it feels so much better. So whether you're a mum who's struggling with the way that life turned out for you, or struggling in any way that life should have been different to this, remember the inside out approach to peace and happiness. It's the only one that really lasts. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please share it with others who you think would benefit from it as well. If you don't already have my Meditation Made Easy training and free video, go over to kellyhine.com, and I will also share lots of freebies and updates that I only share in email, so be sure to get that. Bye for now.